Congress Organizing Committee, I want to recognize you, but I also want to recognize this very industrious niece of mine. Usually we say Master of Ceremonies, but this time it's Lady of Ceremonies, Kunda Mando. Now, for the people that are visiting with us here, you may not know this, but Kunda is the daughter of a very well-renowned broadcaster in our country. Her father was renowned for being the toughest interviewer of any journalist. And I see that Kunda has taken after her father. But she has put in the softer part, you know, the lady type, you know, and to make sure that you soften the blow. So I want to thank you very much indeed, Kunda. And I know that because you want to maintain your beautiful legs, please go and take a seat. Let me also just say that apart from Kunda brightening up the environment in which we are, this table here definitely is so imbalanced, it's embarrassing. So, Lady Rudo, you should have started here so that we could have some color, you know? So, this is bad. I mean, organizers, I mean, I'm praising you, but this is bad organization here. We needed some, you know, some real color, you know? So, let me say that until last week, Wednesday, I was the Minister of Agriculture, and when we were preparing this speech to give here, PS always says, no, Minister, you cannot go to address any Congress or conference without a speech. I said, but I know what I'm going to talk. I mean, why are you giving me a speech? If you're giving me a speech, then it's your speech and not mine. So we had to do a little bit of editing, you know, to this, you know, so that it reflected what my feelings were. But seriously, I want to say all of you that have sponsored this program, our friends from NEPAD, the Ludo, the CIMIT, FAO, AGRA, CADESA, ICADA, CIRAD, National Farmers Union of Zambia Conservation. Is Mr. Conservation here today? Last week he was not here. You know your name. Please stand up so that we can see you. What's his name? He's called Dutch Gibson. Hey, there you are. It's a team. My goodness. Dutch Gibson family. I want to recognize you guys. You're doing a fantastic job. We really appreciate that. Had the president invited me when he was deciding to move me out, I would have said, sir, just leave me here because I cannot market anything at Commerce, Trade and Industry unless it's produced. And production is right here in agriculture and through conservation farming. But you guys already know, we're not consulted when changes are made. So I want to thank the President for having given me the opportunity of serving as Minister of Agriculture. End of this month, it will be exactly 1 year. And Dr. Koch, I want you to know that it would have been better for me to have stayed on so that we could have finished our programs. I don't know whether we would have finished them, but at least we would have taken that much further. So let me recognize my colleagues that I've worked with, and I want to thank you for your support. And the EU, where is Ambassador Havio today? Ambassador Havio, is Ambassador Havio here? Gilles Havio? He's not here with us. In absentia, I want to thank him for the tremendous support we've received from the EU. But before I even give you this statement, I want to share with you a very interesting trip we made to a place which is undertaking agriculture in the southern part of our country. Sometime the previous year, we went with Ambassador Ofstan. We went out there 120 kilometers south of here to check on this conservation farming. And Dutch Gibson was on my case, always asking me, come on, let's go. We want to go and show you what we're doing. And then the ambassador says to me, look, I'm ready to go. And we took a trip and went out there. I want to say to you that here was a very, very good example of what conservation farming does. We were passing on this road, and on the left-hand side, there was no conservation farming. On the right-hand side, conservation farming was being practiced. And you could see, I mean, distinctly, you didn't have to wear glasses like I'm doing now to see there was a difference between this part and this part. After we had finished that tour, and the ambassador was traveling on that particular day, after we'd finished that particular tour, I said to everybody that was in the delegation with me, well, it's done. This is the way to go. Ambassador had to leave. There was this lady. You really need to hear this. Ladies, eh? And yes, we should have had more of them here. This lady was very patient but persistent. And she said to me, Minister, now that you've seen this, I would like you to come to my farm. And then my staff said, you know, Minister, it's a long way to go, and the road is not very good. And I was kind of persuaded by my staff. But the look on this lady's face and the conviction with which she spoke, quite frankly, like Kunda, she persuaded me to travel another 80 kilometers to her place. And as we got into this small town called Chikankata, we turned off to our left, and we went down a steep descent until we got down to the bottom of the stream. And the crossing was very bad. And as we lifted up there, obviously we were in four-wheel drive at this stage. And on reflection, I said, well, I should have listened to my staff. And then she said, oh no, it's just a little further on. We went another 4 kilometers. But you know what? We turned into this place, and there it was, what we'd come for. On the right-hand side was her field. On the left-hand side was another man farming. And the division was the road, the track, in fact, on which we were traveling. Dear brothers, there was so much to learn from this lady. And for ladies, this was a great example for me. Now, I felt, it was worth coming. The husband to this lady was just running behind her to receive us. And I could see clearly on this right-hand side was beautiful, beautiful maize being harvested. This is around July, yes, Ambassador? About July, June, July, September, somewhere there. On my left was a miserable field with hardly any crops. These two farmers had the same rainfall, they had the same soils, and they had been subjected to the same conditionalities, at least physical conditionalities. And the lady on the right-hand side says to me, we drove into her yard, and there was maize just everywhere. The whole area was covered with maize. Beautiful maize, beautiful crops of maize. And she says to me, this year I'm buying a tractor. And I said to her, so what size is your field? And she said to me, it's 44 acres. And this lady was producing more than 4,500 bags, 50 kilogram bags. Ladies and gentlemen, after that, we don't even need this conference. The deal was done. I am satisfied beyond any shadow of doubt. This is worth doing. And so, just a few weeks ago, we've been working on a transformation program for agriculture in our country. My colleagues had worked on a strategic plan. We've decided we're going to change that strategic plan into a transformation plan because we need to upscale. Excellency, I want to thank the Norwegian government for supporting conservation farming in this country. I want to say thank you. And Judge Gibson, not only do I thank you for your enthusiasm, but also for your lessons, but much more the lunch that you carried with you that day when we went up to Kankata. So development partners that are here, my colleagues from the government, fellow farmers that are here, and I am a farmer. I started at the age of 7. Women, my mother, would wake me up at 3 a.m. for us to go to the field. If there was moonlight, we had to be there early. The risk she ran was that I usually cut the maize during the time of weeding with the hoe because I couldn't see where the maize was. It was too early for me. So she would send me back and to go and draw water, to go and boil it before I went to school. I want to thank my mother for those lessons. I want to wish her well wherever she is, and I look forward to seeing her again so that we can rejoice in this. And I'll say to her, Mom, we should have done conservation farming. A great pleasure for me to join my colleagues who have welcomed you to Zambia. For those of our brothers and sisters coming outside Zambia, this is where the war was waged for liberation of Southern Africa. This is the Freedom City, Lusaka. Whether you are talking about Zimbabwe, Mozambique, Angola, Namibia, this is where they waged their war to liberate Southern Africa. And above all, the ANC of South Africa. This was their base. If there's any of you that have come back here, I want to welcome you back home. So I welcome you to Zambia. I welcome you to the friendliest city on the continent of Africa and in the globe of God. This is an inaugural meeting. And since the boss has changed me to go to Commerce, Trade and Industry, I am hoping that this would be remnants of what I can leave behind to make sure that the production takes place so that I can sell it on the other side. I want you to know that under your theme, you're talking about conservation, agriculture, and building entrepreneurship and resilient farming systems. This theme is most appropriate. And therefore, it's a pleasure, I am told by Kunda, you're telling me there are at least 350 people here, that delegates that have come to this conference. Are you sure about the figure? Yes. You sure?
Yes, I am.
If it is wrong, then you're going to be your head will be on the chopping block. 350 people is a big number. I want to welcome you, and hopefully we can learn from one another. The theme of this conference fits well with Zambia's own vision for a sustainable agricultural production